Hi guys, welcome back to Cup of Teach. This time, I'm going to discuss special types of parallelograms. So these are rectangle, rhombus, and square. I'm going to show you the diagram of parallelogram and the special types of parallelogram. So these are the special types of parallelogram. They are rectangle, rhombus, and square. So let us define first yung parallelogram before we go to rectangle, rhombus, and square. Parallelogram is a quadrilateral with two pairs of parallel sides. Rectangle is a quadrilateral with four right angles. Rhombus is a quadrilateral with four congruent sides. And square is a quadrilateral with four congruent angles and four congruent sides. Let's have here the first one, and that is rectangle. So what are the properties of rectangle? Number 1. All properties of parallelogram. So kung ano yung properties ni parallelogram, also properties din ni rectangle. So what are the properties of parallelogram? So these are the properties of parallelograms. Number 1, opposite sides of a parallelogram are congruent. Number 2, opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. Number 3, consecutive angles of a parallelogram are supplementary. So when we say supplementary, the sum of the two angles is 180 degrees. Number 4, the diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. So when we say bisect, it divides the segment into two congruent parts. Number 5, either diagonal of a parallelogram forms two congruent triangle. So these are the properties of parallelogram na properties din ni rectangle. Number 2, it has four right angles. So let's say this is the given rectangle. So we have here four right angles, and the measure of these angles are exactly 90 degrees. Number 3, its diagonal are congruent. So let's have here diagonal 1, and this is diagonal 2. So they are congruent. So kung gaano kahaba itong isa, the same lang din sa kabila. Let's have an example. Find EO if LU is equal to 6. So label natin to ng 6. So ang hinahanap natin, yung measure ng EO. So kung sila ay bisected, ibig sabihin, dinivide yung segment into two congruent parts. So kung 6 si LU, si UV is also 6. So, yung isang buo or yung haba ng LV is equal to 12. So, kung ang LV natin ay 12, therefore, si EO natin is also 12. Number 2, find the measure of angle ELV if the measure of angle LVE is equal to 25. So, let us label the measure of angle LVE is 25. So, that is 25 degrees. Since ang hinahanap natin dito is measure ng angle ELV, so eto siya, ELV. So, etong angle na to ang nawawala. Yung measure nito ang hinahanap. So, since ang angle LEV is right angle, so automatically, the measure of this is 90 degrees. So, itong third side na to ang nawawala, pero meron na tayong dalawang measure ng angle. So, kung mapapansin nyo, that is right triangle. So, palaging tandaan, ang sum ng interior angles ng triangle is 180 degrees. So, yung kabuuan daw nitong triangle na to, that is 180 degrees. So, meron na tayong 90, meron na tayong 25. Therefore, we can say now that the measure of angle L plus the measure of angle E plus the measure of angle V is equal to 180 degrees. So, since the angle L is missing, o measure ng angle L is missing, so you just copy measure of angle E, that is 90, plus the measure of angle V, which is 25, is equal to 180 degrees. And then we have to add 90 and 25, so that is 115. Then, transpose natin yung 115 beside 180 to solve for angle L. So, we will have now, measure of angle L is equal to 180 minus 115. Therefore, the measure of angle L is equal to 65 degrees. Next is rhombus. So, what are the properties of rhombus? Number 1, properties inherited from the parallelogram. So, again, what are the properties of parallelogram? So, these are the properties of parallelogram. Number 2, it has 4 equal sides. So, let's have here the figure. So, mapapansin nyo, lahat ng sides ni rhombus may mark na 1. It means all sides of the rhombus are equal. For example, if HO is equal to 7, find OP, PE, and EH. So, since ang side ni rhombus are equal, therefore, ang magiging measure ni OP is 7, si PE is 7, and EH is also 7. Kasi they are equal. Number 3, its diagonal are perpendicular. So, let's have here the figure. So, mapapansin nyo, yung diagonals niya nag-bisect and then naka-form tayo ng perpendicular line dito. So, yung perpendicular na yan, nakaka-form tayo ng right angle. So, 4 na right angle. So, makaka-form din tayo dito ng 4 na right triangle. Okay, let's have here rhombus hope. If the measure of angle OHT is equal to 55 degrees, find the measure of angle HOT. So, mag-label tayo. So, sabi dito, si OHT ay 55 degrees. And then, itong angle na to is right angle. Therefore, the measure of this is 90 degrees. So, kung titingnan mo, ito ay triangle. So, ang nawawala, yung third angle ng triangle. Always remember, the interior or the sum of interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. Therefore, we can say now that measure of angle HOT plus the measure of angle OHT plus the measure of angle HTO is equal to 180 degrees. Substitution lang tayo. Measure of angle HOT, unknown or missing. Measure of angle OHT, this is 55. Measure of angle HTO, 90. Then, you just copy 180. Add natin itong dalawa. 55 plus 90. So, that is 145. You just copy 180 and then you measure ng angle HOT. Then, transpose natin yung 145 beside 180. So, it will change the sign. So, we will have now measure of angle HOT is equal to 180 minus 145. Then, subtract the 2. Therefore, the measure of angle HOT is equal to 35 degrees. Number 4. Each diagonal bisect a pair of opposite angles. So, let's have here the figure. So, yung diagonals niya, nag-bisect ulit. And then, binisect din niya yung opposite angles. So, angle L and angle V. So, opposite angle sila and then bisected by diagonal. So, pag binisect yung angle, magkakaroon din tayo ng two congruent angles. So, yung measure nitong angle na to at yung angle ng kabila ay equal. So, same din dito sa angle V. Bisected din siya. Therefore, makaka-form din tayo dito ng two congruent angles. So, itong angle na to equal sa measure nitong angle na to. Same din kay angle E at kay angle O. Bisected din siya. Therefore, magkakaroon din tayo dito ng two congruent angles. So, itong angle na to and this angle. They are congruent. Same din sa kabila. So, let's have here rhombus lab. If the measure of angle ELO is equal to 120 degrees, find the measure of angle ELM. So, si ELO daw, 120. Ibig sabihin, yung isang buong angle, that is 120 degrees. And then, you have to find the measure of angle ELM. So, ELM, ibig sabihin, kalahati lang siya. Kung yung isang buo ay 120, So, yung kalahati nito, that is 60. Kasi di-divide mo siya by 2. Therefore, the measure of angle ELM is equal to 60 degrees. And the last type of special parallelogram is a square. A square is a rectangle that has a pair of consecutive congruent sides. A square is a parallelogram, a rectangle, and a rhombus. Square inherited the properties of a parallelogram, rectangle, and rhombus. Therefore, the properties of square are all the properties of a parallelogram, all the properties of a rectangle, and all the properties of a rhombus.
Thank you for watching. That's it for this video. If you learned something here, don't forget to like and subscribe to Cup of Teach. See you on the next lesson. Bye!